Welcome to the Baton Twirling Podcast, a show about all things baton twirling, from the latest news to interviews with world champions and connections made along the way. I am your host, Sarah Rudine. Baton twirling has taken me on an amazing journey, and I'm here to share part of that journey with all of you, one episode at a time. So sit back, enjoy the show, and let's get rolling. On today's episode, I'm talking with the dance owner of All That Dance Company out of Oregon. She has had a successful dance company for the last 21 years, and like all of us, has never experienced such a quick pivot and shift in her business. Over the years, she has learned to become adaptable to all kinds of situations, and she has some advice for the Baton Twirling podcast audience. Tell me your name and what you do and the name of the company that you run.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Sarah Beth Byrum, and I am the director of All That Dance Company.
And how did you get started with dance?
So I've been dancing since I was, in formal dance classes since I was 3 years old. If you ask my mom, she says I've been dancing since I was in the womb. So I pretty much danced my whole life and trained in pretty much every dance style, and then went on to get my degree in dance from the University of Oregon.
Nice.
With a focus in dance education, and then opened my own dance studio the same year that I graduated in 1999. This is my 21st season.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, where are you located?
So we're in Eugene, Oregon and Springfield, Oregon.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. How's quarantine treating you?
Well, everything's closed.
Yes.
So, yeah, we've had to close up both studio locations, and we're trying to just move everything over to be digital and online. And so it's been quite the crazy transition, but working on staying positive.
What's been the most difficult part so far?
I feel like kind of twofold. Number one, just the technology involved. Obviously, I just feel like there's a learning curve, and just being thrown into it, and being a performing artist, and that being where my passion is, and then all of a sudden going to, okay, but now you basically need to be like an IT person to figure all of this out. Has been really challenging. And then I also think just, dance is such a, physical and tactile pursuit. And so translating that medium into this, kind of digital medium has been really challenging for sure for me. So, and just not having that, interaction with students face to face is definitely a challenge.
Yeah, it's definitely a new world for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's I think even for me personally, just for my own mental health, it's I've really realized how much just the art of dance, plays into my overall, mood and how I'm, seeing the world that day. And then also just, the teaching portion. It's if other things have, gone badly that day, it's well, I can get in the studio and dance it out and be with my students and it's fine. And now to have that part of my life be one more trial and one more difficulty has been, really challenging. So
yeah. Oh, I've definitely taken my socks to the kitchen floor a couple of times.
Yeah.
My husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you first started your business, what was the hardest part about it, and then the best part about it?
I think the hardest part about opening my business was just trying to balance the teaching side with running a business. And I actually still think that to this day, even in my 21st season, that's still the challenge, is that I think as a dance teacher and choreographer, that's really where my passion lies. But then realizing that the administrative side and the infrastructure within the business has to be solid in order to allow me to do those things that I love to do. And so just finding the balance of how much time to, work on the business aspect of it in order to allow me enough time to work on the creative side of it is always just a little bit of a balancing act for me. And then the best part is absolutely my students, and I consider them all to be my kids, and I love them all dearly. And so just the connections and bonds that I form with them and their families throughout the years is really the just most rewarding part of my job for sure.
Awesome. If you had any advice for other dance studios or even baton twirlers, what advice would you give them?
I would say just give yourself grace, and it is definitely possible. And I think what's really helped me to focus on is I tend to be a perfectionist, and I want to give my students the absolute best training that I can possibly give them. And so for me, it's been frustrating to feel like, well, this isn't as good as what I could give them if I was in the studio with them. And so I think something I've told myself that I think it's important for all of us to remember is that, don't necessarily compare what you're doing digitally to what you were doing within, the live space. And instead, think of it that, if you didn't have this platform, then they would be getting nothing, And so it's really important to just kind of like I said, give ourselves all grace on it, that it doesn't have to be, at the level necessarily that you're used to doing it. And that embracing the new platform is a way of still engaging with your students and still keeping them connected to an activity that they love is really grounding for them. And so that connection is really so much more important than the platform in which it's being delivered on.
Yeah, agree. So is there a message that you have or something about the dance world that you are like, oh, that'd be so cool to share into the baton twirling world?
So I think that during this pandemic, one thing that has really come to light is how important activities, whether it's athletics or performing arts or whatever that may be, that people find their passion in. I think it's been really telling that in this time where we have had most things taken away from us, I think that those are the things that we're holding on to even more dearly. And so I think that, things that we might have taken for granted, where it might have been, oh, of course I can go take a dance class, or of course I can go, play a game of soccer. And the fact that we've lost the basic ability to do some of those activities that we do hold so dear to ourselves, I think is in some way, kind of a mixed blessing that hopefully we can come back from this and then really embrace those things that we love and things that we're excited and motivated about. And that instead of them just being like, oh, that's a, secondary thing, or that's, my free time or my extracurricular, that realizing how much those activities support our mental and emotional and physical health. And this is really a time to key in on those things. So I think however we can maintain them in our lives is going to be so important for us to get through the pandemic. And then also once we come out the other side, to remember that these were the things that kept us going.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really good. So how can people find you if they're up in Oregon?
Yeah, so we are, you can find us online at our website, which is allthatdancecompany.com. And we have really been at the forefront of tackling how to deliver dance education during the pandemic. So we have actually moved our entire studio to a digital dance academy. And so that's been really amazing for all of our students, and actually allowed us to even be, offering this to new students if they're interested during this time where they are at home. We have a digital dance academy now that offers all of the training in all of the different dance styles. We do ballet, tap, jazz, contemporary, hip hop, musical theater, ballroom. So we've got lots of different styles going on, and we have set up a platform that allows dancers to take all of those classes, pre-recorded content that they can take on their own anytime that they would like, at their own, convenience. And then we also are supplementing that with live classes as well, so that they actually get that one-on-one interaction with teachers and can get feedback and be able to take, in a group situation with other students for that social aspect as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much. It's been, this whole entire pandemic has just changed everything for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a whole new world for all of us.
Yeah. It's just craziness. Yeah, I just hope everyone listening is able to glean some knowledge a little bit here and there, especially for baton twirlers, where it's like, oh, we don't have a gym or we don't have a giant ceiling that we can practice under. Just
Absolutely.
keep moving forward. And I think you gave some great things.
I hope that your organization stay in there as well.
Yeah.
And, everyone keeps thriving.
Agreed. Well, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, great talking to you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Hey, listeners. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to the Baton Twirling Podcast. If you'd like to follow up with us, read the show notes, or get some neat baton freebies, reach out by going to batontwirling101.com. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time.